When battling a stage 4 cancer diagnosis, something like style might seem like not a big deal. But my new friend and style strategist, Lauren Rothman, reminded me that style can be our superpower. Style is something that we can control. But I just hadn't thought of chemo being deserving of a spot in my closet for the rest of my life. Until now. We went ahead and had this discussion, and it's changing everything for me.
What I help do is anchor identity and self-trust through the act of getting dressed.
I know we've been messaging and you do tons of cool style stuff for people on red carpets and all sorts of stuff and companies, but like, could we do some of that cool style stuff for me at chemo or is that weird?
It is the best question I've been asked all day. I would be honored to get you dressed for chemo. And Alyssa, I don't know if you're gonna be surprised by this, but you're not the first person I've dressed for chemo.
Okay, so then we need to like backtrack a little bit. So you're a style strategist is like the title that you go by. Like, what does that mean? And how have you had other people who had this idea like me for chemo too?
I help people prepare for the lives they're actually living. It is illegal to leave your house naked in most communities, states, cities, and towns, right? So we have to get dressed in order to leave the house. And what I do is I arm folks with strategies on how to get dressed. So, for example, a lot of clients will hire me during an identity search in their life. When you are flattened by all of a sudden, for this season or for the rest of my life, this will be a place I have to go. I have to go for my infusions. I have to go for my treatment. I have to go for my doctor's appointments. I have to go for my chemo. I want to make sure you know what you're wearing because the stronger sense of self that you have when you walk in to those heart-wrenching, scary, anxiety-inducing moments, you can actually use style as a way to ground your emotions.
This is so cool. Like, this feels so validating because I feel like my instinct has been this, but I didn't know that it was like a thing. My whole vibe is like, let's not just survive and exist and stay alive. Let's thrive and live. And it's easy to show that when I'm, rappelling off a building or traveling and doing all these fun things. But like, I want to show that at chemo and like in my everyday life of what's helping me do that too. And I guess I thought that was, like, pretty radical, but it sounds like we're like, you've been my teammate here waiting to join. So, like, let's go.
Style is an empowerment tool. It is actually something you have control over. Style is a superpower. And that is the framework that I use to help translate for ourselves something that we have control over when it feels like the world is walking all over us.
I love it so much, and it, like, of course, resonates a lot with me. I remember in my initial chemo, so we're talking, like, 4.5 years ago, and, before every round of chemo, it was a lot of preparation. I'd already gone through the couple weeks of feeling all of the side effects and all that, and kinda towards the end, when you're about to hit your next round, you feel, like, pretty normal, and then you're all of a sudden, like, the next day is gonna hit, and you're not gonna feel normal anymore. And I remember, saying to my mom and my husband, "The night before chemo, don't don't ask me for anything. Don't expect anything of me other than preparing my outfit and what I'm bringing to chemo the next day." And it was like every round of chemo, which I'm so grateful now because at the time I didn't have a nonprofit. It was just documenting because I knew that it was important. Like I just felt like this is stuff that I'm gonna want to look back at and remember. Every round was so intentional. Like the quilt that I used wasn't just a random blanket, it was a quilt that my stepmom made. Whatever leggings I was wearing had names of other people that I loved that had fought cancer or were fighting it, and, like, every piece and every round had this, like, I don't even wanna say distraction because I think it's more important than what that word gives it credit for, but
Oh, it's a headline,
Yeah,
right? It's not a
yeah.
distraction. It's headlining your experience. It's your armor, right? If you go in there with that cool blanket and your cooler has stickers on it and is interesting and it's like, how do I join that party? And then you're like, "Ooh, that's a club I never want to be a part of." But I'm here and I'm here and I'm going to do it in an awesome, spectacular way because you're showing up. And that's it, right? The art of showing up is what my whole life's work is about. And how do we show up during the hard, during the ugly, during the illness, during what honestly feels like you have no energy left and you're
Mhm.
still being asked to show up. You want to claim your style. You want to claim it. It is like a free tool because it's illegal to walk out naked. It is therefore a tool that you have to own to some degree.
I love it so much. What empowered me early on was advice to get microblading and my hair cut and certain things that, like, the night before my first chemo infusion, I felt, like, awesome. So there was and looking back at that, I was so confused thinking, like, this had to be stressful and all of that, and, like, nothing has to be anything. We can redefine that in any way we want. And now here I am 4.5 years in. So I've been getting infusions for every 3 weeks roughly for the past 4.5 years. And I'm gonna be doing that indefinitely for the rest of my life. So and now there's this sustainability piece of this is a part of my uniform in my life that I want to continue that momentum on and not be, like, sprinting and worn out. I wanna have, like, this lifelong marathon feeling like I have control of it. So is that what we can we run it together?
I mean, let's give it a name. We got to name it to tame it. So, I've created chemo capsules. What are we creating, right? Is it the
Yeah.
infusion uniform? I love to organize spaces based on lifestyle and activity. So some people organize by color, some people organize by type. I really organize and encourage organizing through lifestyle. And what I mean by that is in a given week, where do you go? Maybe you go to the gym. Maybe you go to an office. Maybe you run errands. Maybe you have like a mom weekend uniform. Maybe you have a what I wear to the doctor uniform. The way you should also have a what do I wear when I travel uniform, right? These are things that you want to think about for yourself. They're for yourself. They're not performative and for others.
The next 3 weeks, I've got a lot going on. So I have chemo on Wednesday. I have, the following Wednesday, a keynote, and then the following Wednesday, a conference for my nonprofit, We Got This. So what I'm thinking is that we kinda define these groups, these 3 groups, or, you called it,
These
like,
capsule.
each capsule in its own way. And, I'm super excited because I don't think I ever would have identified what I wear to chemo as deserving of having its own capsule in my closet and in my life. And it does, theoretically, it does. I have separate hangers for things that I wear there, but I don't give it credit. And I'm all about, like, I'm okay with being a little defined by my cancer because I'm living like it matters. Like, I'm living with cancer. I'm not just like brushing it aside. Like, I'm leaning into it's not a weakness. It's like part of what proves how strong I am. So
Love.
I'm excited. So what should we call it?
So tell me a little bit about how the infusions feel. What's important? What's sort of like a narrative that's going on for you when you go to get dressed?
So it's been different because I've been on 6 different lines of treatment in the past 4.5 years. And my current treatment is not it's much more targeted, which is why I have my full-grown hair back and all of that good stuff. Every time I show up, I have a port, so every time, I'm getting my port right here accessed. So, it's funny because I love port shirts and other stuff, but, like, even this being stretchy, like, I could wear this to chemo and just
Right.
it's 1 time, you're 2 times
You're
pulling
such
it
a
down.
pro. Um, for example, the chemo capsule is the like, okay, we're back here. We got this. These are the things that I wear, and maybe they ground me a little bit more. And I really need to be at my softest self. I need to meet myself where I'm at from a recovery perspective, from an energy perspective.
Well, and I
And
feel like I focused on that a lot more when it was the harsher stuff because I was kinda, like, making sure I could get through it, and
yeah,
maybe I've lost that focus because I, like, take it for granted a little bit, like, it's fine, it's not a big deal," but I think that honoring that would feel good, I mean, I have a whole sneaker collection, so, like, showing up in the pair of kicks that the nurse is like, "Oh, I haven't seen that one yet," or, a lot
right.
of times I show up to my infusion center bringing new Lego flower kits for the nurses to build.
I have many Lego flowers.
No way! Look at this. We've delivered 1,000 Lego flowers over the past year, partnered with
Oh my god.
patients and infusion centers. That is so funny that you have those.
God,
It's
my
my
son makes
favorite.
this for me. I have so many.
I love that. It's my favorite gift because at the beginning, when people would send flowers, one, they die and like
Yeah.
hot spots. And then also, you're not really supposed to give flowers to people who are immunocompromised.
Yeah.
And so, if someone got me a Lego flower bouquet, which is still on my kitchen table, and here 4.5 years later. And so when I had the opportunity to talk with Lego, I was like, we need to get Legos to all the patients. When I
Oh,
walk into my infusion center now, I walk in and the front desk has the orchid, we built for them. And in the infusion center, there's a Zen garden that was made and different types of flowers. And it's so cool because then the nurses will update me like, oh, Alyssa, like a patient recently, like her son loved this Lego kit, and then she walked in and saw it, and it made her so happy, and it ties all these things together.
and that's what this is about, right? We're being purposeful about what we wear to chemos. What we wear for a keynote, what you wear for your conference. This is all aligned with your internal state to want to create structure and intention around the act of getting dressed when there's so much that we can't control. This is something that we can create a blueprint for.
That was the mic drop moment for me. So we stopped there and we got to work. You will find out Wednesday what we decided to name this capsule for chemo fashion. You'll also get to find out what we picked for Wednesday's main event. Stay tuned for part two. I'm gonna go shopping.